How's the tea? Very good. Save us a cups. We'll need seven cups on the side, if there's any of that. Yeah, nice and sweet.
You know the song, Turning the World Sandals. Maybe you'll know it by the end.
Good evening. Nice to be with you. As you can no doubt hear from my accent, I wasn't born in the United States. I was born in England to an Orthodox Jewish family. And in 1978, my parents, religious Zionists, decided to make Aliyah, to immigrate to Israel. And I went to school each day to this Orthodox Jewish day school in Jerusalem. And one of the streets I crossed on my way to school was called Rachov Kaftet B'November. Because we get one of those words, right? 29th of November Street, the day that we're marking today. And calling it Kaftet is the Hebrew, which gives it a religious, elevated sense, which is not given to any other date on the Gregorian calendar in Israel. But the state of Israel and the municipality of Jerusalem did this in celebration of the 29th of November 1947, the date that we're commemorating tonight, the date in which the world, through the agency of the United Nations, gave license to form Part A, the formation of the State of Israel. We're still waiting for the second part. I grew up in the Orthodox movement, which was ideologically, theologically pro-settler. My classmates became settlers. We were encouraged in the school to go out and live on the West Bank, to build religious academies on the West Bank. My religious high school sent us, with the administration, the staff, and the students, to demonstrate against the peace treaty with Egypt, against ceding land to another, the Holy Land, to another country, to another people. And this was the path that I was set on in my education. And I've been asked to speak about my own transformation. And I've been trying to reflect on what moment that was. And one moment I can trace it back to was about 25 years ago, when the then housing minister in the Israeli government, Ariel Sharon, sent settlers to seize one of the buildings in the old city of Jerusalem belonging to the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate. And we're so honored to have Archbishop Theodoros with us tonight. And I corresponded then, I sent a letter to the Patriarchate, to the Patriarch, Theodoros I, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And it really was a moment because what I saw in this moment of colonizing this building in the old city was, it was in alignment with my theology and ideology. But my parents raised me, their intention was to try to raise a mensch, a nice Jewish boy. And this clearly was not nice. This clearly was not menschlich to the Jewish boy. And I sent a letter saying, please know, Patriarch Theodoros, that not all Jews are like Ariel Sharon. Thank God. And to my surprise and delight, I got a letter back from the Patriarch. And that was the first moment of connection for me with what was beyond the barrier, the divide, of so many divides in Jerusalem between people of different faith. Yesterday I had the opportunity of meeting the Archbishop, and it was the first time I'd sat down with the Greek Orthodox cleric. And I think we shared that we don't have in the church too, that the connections are not there. They're just not there even though we live side by side. I know, I lived in Jerusalem for 20 years and I know next to nothing about the Greek Orthodox Church, which I learned yesterday 200,000 Palestinians in Israel, within the state of Israel. So, we're gathered tonight. This is a remarkable gathering. You know, every year I participate as clergy in the community here in Chicago in an interfaith Thanksgiving gathering. And they're always very lovely and very sweet. But not much more than that. And here in Chicago we have, for more substantive interfaith, we have organizations such as the Fellowship of Jews and Christians, which is organized, its mission statement is to fight anti-Semitism. I'm still looking a little bit. And to support the state of Israel. That is the public space of interfaith between Jews and Christians in America, for the most part. What we're doing tonight is to claim a new public space in interfaith religious dialogue, to come together to stand for that second part of the Kaftet of November, of the 29th of November 1947, and to truly make that a sacred day by honoring both sides of that, and to stand for Palestinian recognition as Americans, as Jews, as Christians, as people of faith, and to collaborate on that. And there is so much work to do, so much exciting work to do. For me, it's a joy to meet a leader of another faith. It's a joy to share this public space and to find how we can collaborate as people of faith for this urgent need. And so, my prayer and hope is that this is the start of something much bigger. And maybe there'll be a Kairos document of Jews and Christians and Muslims that might happen. And perhaps we will come together and break down barriers and learn to know each other and love each other around this common space of standing for the dispossessed and for correcting the injustice in Israel and Palestine. Thank you.
Peace, shalom, salam. I am very sorry that we are so late. We were stuck in traffic. It was incredible, but it's really good that it happened, because actually I'm going to speak a little bit about patience. I actually have been asked to speak about steadfastness in the Palestinians as they struggle for their self-determination, and I'm going to speak about patience as something that's actually kind of common in all three faiths as a means to steadfastness. The one thing I want to make clear, first let me tell you who I am. First of all, I'm KRISTIN SZREMSKI. I'm the media director with American Muslims for Palestine. It's a Palestinian organization. I'm the only non-Palestinian who works there. So I am representing the organization, but I am no way, obviously, I'm not Palestinian, and so to be able to talk about what Palestinians are in terms of their steadfastness, I can't do that. I think that just furthers the kind of colonial mindset that has decimated that region of the world. But what I can do is talk to you about our faith and how in my trips to Palestine, and I met both Muslims and Christian Palestinians, how the patience is the common thread through all of their society. Patience in the Quran, the word patience is mentioned about 90 times. And I got that off the internet. I have not actually checked that with a shame, so I have my disclaimer. But I can tell you that, that topics and themes related to patience way outnumber just the particular word of patience. And that's because God, in His infinite wisdom and in His mercy, exhorts us all to be patient. He tells us again and again that He loves the patient, that He will stand with the patient. And for those who have hardships and endure their hardships with patience, God is with them as well. And not only that, but in some verses in the Quran, He promises to send multitudes of angels down to protect you. When you are in harm's way and you are still bearing that with patience, God will send His angels to protect you. Now that doesn't mean that you don't want to work against injustice, because that's something, again, that's common in all three of our faiths. Justice is extremely important. We are all called to justice. So that's not what that means. What it means, though, and I'm not a scholar by any means, but I can tell you a little bit of what I know in Islam. First of all, I do want to tell you, I grew up as a Lutheran. So I spent most of my life as a Lutheran. Then I spent about 10 to 12 years as a Catholic, and then I became Muslim. So I have a little bit of, quite a bit of knowledge actually, of the Christian traditions as far as I experienced them. But the Arabic word, and I can't go into the whole root of the word and the beautiful thing that is the Arabic language, but the word sabr can have kind of three different meanings when applied in this way to those who follow the Muslim faith. The first one, the very lowest level, is when something is happening to you, it's dislikely, you don't like it, it's harmful. You might dislike it on the inside, but you remain quiet. So that is the lowest form of patience. And then the next higher form of patience is to have, and I can't say the Arabic word, but to have satisfaction. And it's to be grateful to God. You're actually grateful for the hardship because you have this elevated spiritual sense that you know God never gives us anything that's bad for us, even in hardship, because He may be purifying us by putting us through this hardship. He may be testing our faith, and through that our faith can grow. So nothing bad actually really happens to us, even though it may seem bad at the time. And if you are thankful for these things, that's the next level of patience. And the highest level is to have the realization, I'm going to just read it because it's written so beautifully. The Prophet Ali, the fourth rightly guided caliph, said, he wasn't a prophet, excuse me, the Caliph Ali said, of the realization of the majesty of God and of knowledge of the right that God has on His creation, so that when one is visited with a calamity, he does not complain, he does not even mention this calamity, but he thanks God and asks for patience. And I think that this is a very strong theme in Islam, but it's also something that I witnessed in my trips in Palestine, whether I was speaking with Christians or Muslims. And it's something, I think that this is why we see now the peaceful, nonviolent resistance that's happening in the civil society in Palestine. One reason why it's becoming so successful, because there is a great deal of patience. One thing that, while we're coming here, I love that we are all coming here together. I love the Kairos document. I think that's a magnificent document. And when I was in Palestine, we met with someone, his name is Rafat Cassis. Yes, and he actually told us they are working on a similar document for Muslims to have an agreement with, and I think the Archbishop, you would know better about this. So eventually, it could be a document that all of us here who are so concerned about justice in the Middle East for everybody who lives there, for all people, we may be able to really find common terms on that. But the one thing I do want to caution and bring up, my first trip to Palestine, I went with a Palestinian Christian group called Sabil, and it was a marvelous group, and we got to see a lot about the occupation. But there was one thing that happened there that I found interesting, and it's something I'd like to caution all of us here about. We had just gone to Hebron, Khalil, and seen the horrible oppression. I mean, for me, the occupation really came home when I visited that town with all of the oppression that exists there and the checkpoints and the fact that even I, because I had a headscarf on my head, was not allowed to cross Shahada Street. It was amazing, and we came back for our debriefing. This beautiful, she's a contemplative Christian woman, just a wonderful woman, sat there and she said, you know, after seeing the occupation in Hebron, I'm wondering what we can do to help the Palestinians forgive the Israelis. And for me, forgiveness is a lovely thing, and it's the cornerstone of Christianity. Jesus preached forgiveness all the time. And we need to have this in our character. But when it comes to the occupation, we also need to remember that the two sides are not equal. There will be a time for forgiveness and healing. But right at the moment, we need to always remember that we are dealing with an occupier and an occupied. And that the occupation absolutely has to come to an end before any of these other things can happen. So what I would ask everybody in this mixed community who really wants to work for justice in the Middle East, the first thing we need to do is unite to work to end the occupation. So, thank you.